Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, in the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. I need to tell the viewers of something very interesting that happened today. Something very unique happened, and it happened after I recorded the driving episode. Before this, I was pretty much in the highway, and a sequence of imagery and perspectives came to me that I have not had in this life before. And the way I could translate that perspective was in these two sentences: the decision of a lifetime, and two, I realize I cannot wait for all of you anymore. And I will explain what I mean by that. This is my 10th episode. I've had honestly a little bit of an intense day. But it's important for me to be honest with this work that I am doing here. And as God, as the future generations that have not been born are watching, and as all the beings alive now are watching, and those who have gone, I was driving and I was thinking about the purpose of my existence. And I was thinking about not just the purpose of existence, to be honest. I was thinking about the speed of my life. And I was thinking about, in some sense, based on whose speed am I living my life? And then suddenly it opened me up to the idea of what am I waiting for? You know, I tried convincing myself that this is a collective activity. Do you know, it's as if somebody in a world of filled in a somebody wanting to know how a car engine works in a world filled with drivers that have no clue about the engine. They just drive it. There's so many people living, but how many of them actually know what this is? That's another question. Many people drive cars, but not many people can create cars. The only place that I have managed to see there being an ability to create the world, it's only through a smaller simulation of the world. Which is another way of saying I can write a story just like how this earth is. But I cannot rewrite this story. Because I'm not the author, I'm a character.
Want a light scent that lasts? Try.
Okay. So, this is one of those days where I feel off, but it makes me feel less. I don't know how to say this, but I pretty much was driving in the highway and I asked myself, what speed is moving my life? And in some sense, should I connect my minds to other minds and go with their pace? For the first time in this lifetime, an idea, a perspective which I had cowarded away from, which I was scared from. The perspective came. The perspective came that if I wait for 8 billion human beings, if I wait for acknowledgement, if I wait, I may miss my chance. And so today, I don't know how to tell you, but something happened. Something happened to Amin Jawahar Sadi in regards to like realization wise. And you know what it was? No offense, but my respect for the human species, not because it's consciously doing it, because it's unconsciously, because it's asleep. It's as if you can't get angry at people who are sleepwalking. At least they're doing their best, So I cannot get angry, I cannot get upset at human civilization so far, because this is the best we got. But if I am seeing something else, if the Almighty has presented and positioned a view for me that I see something more than this, to be honest, my true, deep down at my core, how I feel, it is the opposite of patience. The reason my mind, I think, has gone this way so far throughout the years was because of my impatience. In some sense, this is the test. You either accept the inferior and you walk slow with hope, or you run. And for today, for the first time, I can't tell you, this feeling in me, not the feeling that deep down, I love our species and I am living for it. It's just I realized for the first time why people go rogue. And today I realized, the only, my most important relationship is with the system admin. And there has been a reason. There has been an interesting reason why millions of people are not viewing this channel. Interesting reason why the world hides itself from itself. And of course, I'd have no problem with the decision, because on some level, sure, there's a higher power you're deciding. But aside from that, from the capabilities of my own mind, oh, Ya Allah, I cannot wait. I can, but it is in some sense meaningless. It's as if waiting for someone to change or you change, right? And that's what I'm realizing. I'm realizing my approach in trying to get everybody, getting all of you to rise up for your species. It seems you're too busy with your inner lives, with your personal lives. Humanity is asleep because it is dealing with self-simulations before it notices other simulations. So what do we do? What do we do in a reality, okay, where we need to move an object that's heavy, but everybody's, in a weak slumber. Unfortunately, if I trust the world, it slows you down. But if I for a second bypass, that means in my body I am living in 2024. In my mind, as my mind, I am not living in 2024. I can fathom any context to any moment. But when it comes to my soul, I know that there is a higher power here, experientially. I also know that that higher power is not an evil overlord. It's a graceful, but it has its own pace, its own speed. So as a human being with my own capabilities, I'm not saying I want to worship myself, but it's as if waiting for others is starting to feel foolish. Do you understand? That means it's not anybody's fault. It's just the way the situation is. And so the thing that happened today was strange. I can't say my love for my world is always that's fixed, but something happened today where I felt it's too slow. It's all moving too slow. And of course, there is divine timing and have faith. I think like that. But at the same time, I have faith, but why do I have this idea now? Why do I feel the population is entranced? It's in a trance state of self-worshipping. Do you understand? Like, as a human being, when I wonder about how I feel about other humans, do you understand? It pretty much ranges from a spectrum of adorable, blessing to, in some sense, unnecessary tragedy. It's too slow. The mind, that's the issue. It's either you live with the mind moving the body or your soul.
Want light scent that lasts? Try Downy Light.
It's either the soul moving the body or the mind moving the body. Do you understand? It's like we're living 3 lives in one life. Okay, one life you're thinking as an object. Other life you're thinking as a character in a story. The third life you're noticing how all of it is here, and you also notice more. Okay? The third life is a different life. I'm speaking, my emotions today are more like level 2 concluded. What that means is that my mind got tired. It's like, being in, I guess, in Iran, raised in Iran, and Iranian culture, there's this thing like be courteous, wait for people, like hold the door open, all of this. But by the time we hold the door and by the time they pass through, we have it's like we've missed all the time that we should have been walking forward. So for the first time, I find myself in these 10 years, you don't understand, I've had a romance with the future of our species, pretty much. With the greatness of the legacy of the human effort while it was here. But I'm tired. I'm not tired. At least it's becoming frustrating to just be in level 1 and 2. I'm pretty much saying I'm getting bored of how every day it's an object and every day the subjects come and change. And it's slow. Like the mind is showing me things that can happen faster. What do I do? What can I do? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's like waking up every day. You were like, all right, I'll live today, and you think about today. But once your mind can envision today and has envisioned so many todays, right? After some point, you're like, okay, another, like, am I becoming another person again in front of others? Somebody in the chat section says that was a good metaphor. Thanks. I don't, I can't remember which metaphor you're pointing to, but honestly, what I'm saying is that when I was driving today, it was kind of upsetting. It was sad. It was sad because, I can trust God because God is original power and it's not a worldly form. But when it comes to trusting worldly form, it's like, man, it's like, you know, candles giving each other, promises of like that only electric light bulbs should. It's one of those things where it's more like you have, like, I guess a part of me had this wishful thinking. I saw like Lord of the Rings and the movie Gladiator, and a part of me thought the whole species could assemble and advance towards a greater strategy that this whole time could have been happening. But we are so used to this, and our energy levels are just like, just live one day and then get tired at the end of the day and come and sleep and it resets, that it's a small, I'm sorry, in contrast to what is actually here in this space of this world. It's a very small life we're living, and like the ants don't like the rock to be moved. That's even worse, you know. So on some level, right, it's a limited life, right? One thing that even fascinated me, right, I'll tell you guys, even though I do say like I'm super introverted in these talks, I am still a social person. I still live my life. Okay. And some of the things that, for example, when it come to like, you know, some problems that when you're younger, your mind as a guy makes so difficult. Oh my God, when is this ever gonna change? Or how am I gonna be in these situations? I went through those situations and they weren't that like of a big deal, right? What I'm trying to say is that this lecture is my first step, the first step of my heart from the human species. And not that it's like I'm heartbroken on some subconsciously deep natured level. It's not that. It's just that, how long are we gonna wait? How long? Like, do you understand? So that's the problem I've realized. We are so in the expectation of living our individual lives that to think of living for a collective effort, right? It's like they've made it impossible, really. Do you understand? Even if it's possible with resources and forced power. Of course, if I was a billionaire right now, you think I wouldn't build advanced research stations everywhere all over the planet, open to the public? I would, you know? But I'm just saying that I have, it's becoming difficult for me to trust the simulated realm. You understand? It's as if, like, imagine there's a kingdom. This kingdom is under siege. They're ringing the bell, of like old school movies. They're ringing the bell, like, we're at war, enemies coming. Nobody is doing anything. And the soldier comes in front of, like, let's say there's you know, uh, some experienced warrior there. He comes up in front of everybody, like, let's say the king comes and says, "Yo, you gotta fight for this. You gotta live for your world, for the whole, all of it." right? For the collective vision of it, right? You got to live for your kingdom, right? And then the people in the kingdom are like, yo, man, I don't see a war. I don't see enemies behind these walls. And the obvious answer is because you're not on the other side of the wall. You don't see. So meanwhile, an army, imagine, is heading towards this kingdom. There's a warrior in this kingdom who's like, fuck, they like the kingdom is not ready. And this warrior quickly gets on a horse, right? Even sees the king is oblivious, doesn't care, right? Is depressed or something, right? And this warrior, I'm a sci-fi writer, guys. I write stories, so this is easy for me to fathom. This warrior quickly gets on his horse and is like, fuck, we don't have the armies to defend our kingdom. Let me go act like a messenger and at least renegotiate and say something, to delay the war, right? 100% there must have been, like, good civilians back in the day who had to, mingle in those affairs to in some sense at least change what they saw. Because why did they see it then, right? Why did they see it ahead before it happened, right? There's reason. And so it's like this warrior being like, okay, world is asleep, civilization 1.0 is asleep, and in some sense, imagine, like, that's what I'm telling you, the feeling I have now, where I'm like, okay, time to just legit pick up my sword and run towards that army, you know what that means is that when the smartest possibility does not activate, if you're with the crowd, you must accept the lesser and walk with them. But if you can't accept the lesser, if there is something in you that is saying, yo, something's off here, go do something about it, right? That feeling to me now has translated in like a solo walk. So officially, I love what we are, and I love I love what we can be, but what we are now compared to how advanced our future will be is slightly disgraceful. And we will all leave here at some point. We will leave. So what do we do while we're here? Okay, two options. Stay asleep in the simulation, or realize there are original values. This world, there are authorities beyond it. This world is not the like, this world can show you the most like messed up, bring you the most intense, like, leviathan of an entity, in front of you. But a part of you, if it understands there is an authority beyond this world, and that authority is watching it, and if the individual is aligned, then the worldly is not as impressive as what the original is.
Wow, I just
So,
built the most amazing workflow on Monday.com.
You build your own workflow? Why?
God bless you all. And, amen, I tried. I'm still going to try. As long as I exist, there will be someone behind the scenes advancing civilization, singing the song of civilization. Oh man, there was so much to do. I guess in my gravestone I would write it like this: there was so much to do. There was so much I could see we could do, but we did little, and we thought that was enough, and maybe it was, but there was still so much we could do, we could have done. There will come a moment where there will only be just these live streams. There won't be the author anymore. Oh, man. Sorry guys, let me just cover my face in a proper angle. I'm convinced Civilization 1.0 is just a prototype. It's an inefficient prototype. And some part of me, I think right now I'm realizing because of this fear that made me introverted most of my life, I have been heartbroken by the species. I have trust issues. I have simulated trust issues, trusting the simulation or not. I trust the power, the decree. But what's happening, like, you know, maybe this whole time, the angels, because they were divine decree, they could not ask, you know, they were like the extension of the divine, of the one and only God. They could not counter, they could not ask the question. And so, a human being will ask the Almighty now, have you been waiting for us to request this to change? Have you been waiting for us to ask you if you are satisfied? You know, like I can envision it, imagine it like this, that if I wrote a next level fiction novel to the degree that the characters in that novel became conscious on their own and noticed they were in a novel and noticed there was a writer still writing the novel, you know, it's like God, it's like, first of all, we're in a system. There's mods, there's members. I'm a member in the simulation. You know, I'm not even a moderator, and God knows best. For me, the mods are not, anything simulated is not as valuable as the original. And who knew it's the same for our world? The soul is that part of you that yearns for the original power, the original self, the original others, the original world, the original truth. And your mind is the simulated. It's the simulated truth. Your body is just a vehicle, is a mechanism. You know, I don't worship, I used to worship other than the one and only. Because I felt, yo man, existence is familiar, has a way of knowing how to be with itself. You know, I'm pretty much telling you, I thought it was a team game. But the forces of reality are telling me no. Because it depends on if the team sees the same things as you or not. And so, from what's the date today? July 24, 2024. I will serve civilization roguely. You all already have leaders, symbols, what you're looking for. You know, sometimes I forget. This world is a bus stop. This world is an airport. In the middle of transcendental transit, we're treating the terminal for that airport transit as like the only place there is. You know, and who wants to live in an airport? Aside from Tom Hanks in movies. Anyways, thank you for listening. May God bless you. May God forgive our species, and may we be fascinated in realizing God is the original power. What that means is it's like your power for your body is like food and water, right? And like sunlight. For your mind, it is, I guess, fascination. If somebody tells me, when do I experience my mind in its like most, like best way to pilot state, and it's honestly when I am fascinated by something. When I'm fascinated by something, it's like my foot's already in the door of understanding it. Anyways, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. And the clue is God is all forgiving. Perhaps all simulations will be forgiven. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Every person you see, you don't see it. You don't see the divine surveillance state. But imagine if everybody had a chip in their brain, and that chip was connected to some next level server filled with information, and every human being walked every day of their lives in a state of already knowing. And that would be a sort of simulated creation of absolute trust. But the idea is that right now we're identifying as individuals in a world, right, in the future generations, as we go more and more into the future, they will experience themselves as movements of the world, not just being in a world that's moving. You understand? So, but now people who are alive now in the human form, they don't notice that it's also similarly there's a divine surveillance state, and what the divine surveillance state is implying is in some sense that we are already connected, but we're connected to an original server. Do you understand? So your soul was designed by original power. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is that your soul is inside. The soul is the secret of God. God knows best. But as a human being, just sharing probabilities, I envision, it may be that the soul is how you are connected to the original world in the same way that it's a secret for the pixelated character on the 2D screen if there is a three-dimensional person behind the screen, like playing that video game character on that 2D computer screen. So I'm saying that's level 3, when you realize behind your objective and subjective life there's been the life. So do you see what I'm saying? I'm saying my soul has realized that if my mind waits for the minds of others, in some sense the results will be slow. What can I say? In the video game of life, we find ourselves trying to level up. We are born into positions of subjective orientation towards past cultural programs. And the songs of the advanced civilizations are just a reminder to the human species that it's not just we're all waiting for each other, we are waiting for ourselves. You know, the position is maybe what I misunderstood, was that we gotta do it together. But perhaps we've all been born as like rogue specific engineers, each with their own specific job title, as if, all right, this soul is going to be born here, it's going to act like a fool up to this age, and then from that age it's going to be wise, and then it's going to do a bunch of more foolish things, then it's going to go and do wise things. Do you understand? And it could be that some soul comes here all alone, nothing, no friends, no family, right? And it's as if they come in the position of an orphan. And guys, remember, orphans, all orphans in this world, they are special citizens of the world. Serve them like they are royalty, you know, in another dimension. And you know, you could be perhaps a soul where they're like, all right, this soul, they're going to be like, all right, this soul is going to come into the world, it's going to have a good life, but it's not going to feel good about its good life, you know? And then this soul is going to, as time goes on, realize how different it is from others. And then this soul will go on this huge project of, in some sense, living for everything and everybody. And then this soul will realize it's not in charge. It's not in control of everything. And then this soul will realize the moment it's not in control of everything, that it's in a world that's already the administration's already happening. Before I speak these words, divine decree has been in the room and out. What is God? God is the original power of the original state of being. And this original state created us in its original greatness, but we did something unoriginal. We listened to something unoriginal. We did not live originally. That was the sin of man, that he listened. And so this is why I'm telling everybody, this is why after 2024, right, there's, you hear me praying at the beginning, and what my prayer is, in the name of God, in the name of the higher power. And guys, believing in a higher power is hilarious. You don't even need to, you believe in a higher power in the same way you believe in the word. There's lower power and higher power. There's a higher elevation, lower elevation. That's not even some, that's something that's, it's like common sense. If there's lower power, sure, why not there's higher power? But the question is, what is our relationship with this higher power? Our relationship with this higher power is to realize we can't act like the world belongs to us when we did not create it. Who are we kidding? The guy's like, yo man, I used to be a narcissist. I used to be so egotistical. I used to think that, I was right and everybody was wrong. But then I realized, no. It's like they're a bit wrong and I'm a bit wrong, but they're a bit right and I'm a bit right. It's like that when you're younger, you think in absolutes because you're not acquainted with your emotions. And when you get emotional, you just want the emotion to quickly go away. Right? But as you get older, you realize you need to treat your emotions like you're being visited by guests. I've had emotions arise in moments that I've never experienced before. It was as if like some people, like for example, they get high to experience a different moment. Some emotions can make you completely shift as just by the nature of how the context is shifting. There's so many ways to move. And one can also consider that means there's so many ways to live as well. And people are living different lives. But a part of me wonders, like, how many of us are actually, sure, I'm famous for my overthinking, I guess, at this point. But honestly, guys, a part of me in my inner realms, in my inner sight, behind my eyes, I saw it. I swear to God, I saw it. In my mind, I saw advanced civilizations. I saw how this civilization advanced, and it showed itself to me. To the degree that you might not believe. But as you go further in time, right now you're a being that thinks that you like history is just going forth. You haven't realized time is a circle yet. When you realize it, you can't be a linearized being anymore. When humanity, hopefully, I don't know, hopefully, maybe, God knows, in the year 3,500, excuse me, 3,500 years from, I think 2020, I said it, the species will go through the language threshold, and every existential form, everything in the manifestation of the journey, of the legacy of whatever was within our eyes journeying through here. You don't understand. It's the opposite. It's the opposite. As we advance, we become mental beings more. Sorry guys, just a second. Excuse me, holy shit. You know, let me tell you something interesting. As a being, I have a conflict in accordance to the levels of my life that I see. And so, if I give in to the lower self, it's as if I accept myself as a being from the world. If I give in to my higher self, I was never from here, and technically existence is a stranger, you know. But God is not. And, you know, I may, when I think about what, if right now I am in a moment of time, if I'm in a certain moment in time, and I see the future generations, at least what I can do is maybe talk to them, you know, my voice is at least being eternalized as long as cyberspace is around. So, you know, maybe that's the smartest thing. I should be talking to the future. I should be talking to the future. I've been stressing myself to talking to beings now. Who knew? Okay. Oh my God. As of tomorrow, I'm going to give talks for the future generations. Huh. Wow. Anyways, thank you for listening, guys. Thank you for accompanying me in this moment and in these moments. I am happy you're here. I'm actually happy we're all here. And I also am happy that I have realized my own insignificance, you know? But for me, there is still higher power here, original power. And as beings that have a remembrance, have some sort of link with the original, the sin is to not live originally. And to wait for others is not original. And so I am not in a rude way saying that I will not wait for you, for all of you anymore, right? Not in a rude way, in a way that after you guys have lived, you know, after you've got up to level 2, after you've gotten tired of being an object and a subject every day, come and listen to these. And by that time, I'd probably be speaking to your grandchildren. Take care. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. I am nothing, but we can all at least go towards everything, towards the origin. And I got a glimpse of this. I don't know when I will leave. I don't know that. But I got a glimpse of right after my biological death, how from behind this suit I extend out. So the exit of it is from behind, arms open. If you see how Christ has been, if you see how Christ is in the crucifixion position, we all, the way, at least what I saw, what I saw in my inner realms after this biological form, in a similar position, we step out of the body. And when you step out, the certainty you have of your mind now, of over there, you will see. So what you cannot see of your mind now, you can see. But I don't want to talk about the barzakh. And I want to say, just go to the system admin. If this world is a simulation, it's not like a freaking formula where you got to press something, like type something. You know, the way out of any being here in this manifestation that you consider this world simulated, the only way out is through the original. As long as the pilots and the advanced communicators, probably many of your grandchildren, of those people who listen to this, oh future generations, not only am I coming to see you, I will speak to you now. From now on only. I will show the viewers. The future is not that far away. Thank you for listening. God knows best.